война, к сожалению, для всех не закончится встречей на Аляске. Это тоже надо понимать.
In the heart of war, the most crucial element isn't always raw power, it's patience. Patience, precision, and the ability to strike when the enemy least expects it. This is the story of how Ukraine, surrounded by one of the largest military powers in the world, patiently set the perfect trap for Russia's most formidable weapon, its mighty tank convoys. The world watched as Ukraine didn't confront Russia head-on. They waited, and when the time came, they obliterated Russia's tanks with a level of precision that shocked the world. The world has seen countless military strategies unfold over the years, grand displays of firepower, sudden attacks, and long-running sieges. But in the case of Ukraine, what they did to crush Russia's tank convoys wasn't just about strength. It was about intelligence, technological advantage, and above all, strategy. With Russia's forces advancing through Ukraine's critical zones, victory for Russia seemed inevitable. But Ukraine wasn't about to give up its sovereignty without a fight. Instead, it would wait for the perfect moment to strike back. Through a series of calculated moves, utilizing drones, precise intelligence, and modern warfare tactics, Ukraine turned the tide of battle. The moment was set, the stage was prepared, and when the Russian convoy entered the kill zone, Ukraine launched its attack. The result was swift, deadly, and decisive. While the Russian tanks rumbled toward their destination, Ukraine was quietly observing. The first crucial step of their strategy wasn't about confronting Russia head-on, but about patience. Ukrainian forces knew that taking on the mighty Russian tank battalions directly would be foolish. But they also knew that every convoy, no matter how powerful, had its weaknesses. And so, they waited. Using a network of drones and advanced surveillance systems, Ukrainian intelligence gathered precise data on the Russian convoy's movements. Every moment was tracked. The routes, the expected arrival times, and the vulnerabilities of each convoy all were studied, analyzed, and eventually mapped. This wasn't the work of an amateur force. This was a well-coordinated, highly technical operation designed to exploit the smallest openings. At the heart of Ukraine's victory was its use of drone technology, a tool that turned the tide of the battle. The modern battlefield is no longer just about tanks and missiles, it's about intelligence, and in this case, it was real-time intelligence. Ukrainian drones hovered high above the Russian convoys, capturing every movement, every shift in position. These drones weren't just providing eyes in the sky, they were feeding critical information directly to the Ukrainian forces on the ground. As Russian convoys moved through dense forests and narrow routes, the drones carefully mapped their positions. The convoy had nowhere to hide. For the Ukrainian forces, this gave them the most valuable asset in modern warfare: information. Armed with this data, Ukraine was able to see exactly where the Russian tanks would be vulnerable. Patience was not just a virtue, it was the key to Ukraine's strategy. Every soldier, every officer, every drone operator knew one thing: the moment the convoy reached the designated ambush zone, they would strike with deadly precision. The terrain itself had been carefully chosen: narrow roads, dense forests, and urban zones, all areas that would severely limit the Russian tanks' ability to maneuver. Ukraine knew that the convoy would be slow and predictable land. That's when they would make their move. At the perfect moment, Ukrainian forces deployed a coordinated strike. The air was still, the convoy was unaware, and then, the first strike. With pinpoint accuracy, Ukrainian Javelin missiles struck first. The Javelin, capable of targeting Russian tanks from over 2.5 miles away, was the perfect weapon for this moment. The first tank exploded, then the second, and then chaos erupted. The attack was swift. The Javelins were followed by artillery, hitting from concealed positions. But the most important aspect of this assault was the precision, a hallmark of modern Ukrainian warfare. Ukrainian forces were able to hit the tanks where it hurt most, their vulnerable spots. The Russian convoy, caught in the middle of an expertly executed ambush, was rendered helpless. Ukraine's firepower, though not as overwhelming, was precise and devastating. The convoy had no chance to react. Within minutes, the heart of the convoy was destroyed. Many had underestimated the Ukrainian forces. Russia had relied on the size and power of its tanks, thinking that sheer numbers would overwhelm Ukraine. But they hadn't accounted for the speed, precision, and intelligence of Ukraine's military. The victory was not just military, it was psychological. Russia had suffered a massive blow, and the world took notice. Ukraine's success became a symbol of resistance, of hope, and of the power of modern tactics over brute force. NATO allies praised Ukraine's ingenuity, and the global military community re-evaluated Russia's strategies. For Ukraine, this victory wasn't just about defeating Russian tanks, it was about proving that strategy, patience, and technology could win battles. This victory reverberated far beyond the battlefield. As the world watched, Ukraine's victory sent a clear message. Military power isn't just about having the largest weapons, but about having the smartest, most efficient tactics. Global leaders know that Ukraine's success has changed the nature of warfare. It's no longer about who has the biggest army, but who can adapt, who can outsmart their enemies. This ambush may be one of many in a long, hard war, but it has proven something vital, that even the most powerful militaries can be brought down by the power of modern technology, strategy, and patience. The battle for Ukraine is far from over, but this victory has set the tone for what's to come. What do you think of Ukraine's precision attack on Russia's convoy? Was it the turning point in the war? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of the conflict.